Captain Ryan Hale had always known that exploring distant planets could be dangerous, but nothing had prepared him for this. The landscape of Zerathia, a planet far from Earth, was unlike anything he had ever seen. The sky shimmered in shades of violet and gold, and towering crystal-like formations jutted from the ground. Rivers of luminous liquid flowed between jagged cliffs, reflecting the strange sky above. Ryan's boots crunched on the metallic soil as he carefully moved forward, scanning for threats. His mission was simple on paper: survey the planet for possible human settlements and establish contact if intelligent life was found. But reports from orbital satellites had hinted at trouble. Unidentified signals suggested hostile activity near an alien city hidden in the mountains. Ryan's instincts told him he would soon find more than just wildlife or rocks. He had barely taken 3 steps into the valley when the sounds of conflict reached him. A series of shrill mechanical screeches echoed through the air, followed by the sharp whistling of what he realized were energy-based projectiles. Ryan's heart raced. He crouched behind a large crystal formation and peered over the edge. In the distance, a city unlike any human structure lay sprawled across the cliffside. Its buildings seemed to grow naturally from the crystal formations, shining with an inner light. At the heart of the city, Ryan saw a group of figures being attacked. Alien soldiers clad in sleek silver armor fought desperately against an enemy force that was swarming their defenses. Then he saw her. Queen Solara stood atop a raised platform, her presence commanding attention even amid the chaos. Her skin glowed faintly under the light of the crystalline city, and her eyes were deep pools of wisdom and strength. Around her, her guards fought bravely, but they were clearly outnumbered. Ryan's chest tightened. He had trained for many battles, but he had never seen such a combination of elegance and danger in one being. Without thinking, Ryan moved forward. He wasn't a diplomat, and this wasn't his mission, but no human could ignore a life in immediate danger. Using his combat training, he sprinted through the crystal formations, zigzagging to avoid the deadly projectiles. Each step brought him closer to the Queen. The alien soldiers noticed him almost immediately. One, a towering figure with 4 arms, shouted in a language Ryan didn't understand. The sound was harsh, almost musical, like glass breaking. The soldier pointed toward Ryan, and for a moment, Ryan thought he had made a mistake. But then he realized something extraordinary. The enemies hesitated. The attackers had never seen a human move like this. Ryan's speed and unpredictability disrupted their formation. While their eyes had been trained on the alien defenders, this new variable, him, forced them to pause. He used that pause to reach the Queen. "Step back," Ryan shouted, waving his hands to signal Solara to retreat. The Queen's eyes widened, and she hesitated for a moment, unsure whether this human was friend or foe. Then understanding flashed in her gaze, and she took a cautious step back. Ryan quickly scanned the area. Energy arrows zipped past him, striking the crystalline ground and sending sparks into the air. Using shards of broken crystal as makeshift cover, he ducked and rolled, moving closer to the Queen with every leap. Suddenly, an enemy soldier lunged at Solara from behind. Without thinking, Ryan tackled the alien aside, sending both of them tumbling to the ground. The Queen's eyes widened again, this time in shock. "Human," she whispered, her voice a soft chime amid the chaos. "I've got you," Ryan said, his voice steady despite the pounding of his heart. He pulled the alien to the side, rising to his feet as more attackers closed in. The alien Queen's guards tried to join the fray, but their numbers were dwindling. Ryan noticed a pattern in the enemy's attacks. They were aggressive but predictable, relying on superior numbers to overwhelm their targets. He grinned. Humans had learned long ago that brains could beat brawn if used correctly. With quick thinking, Ryan grabbed a discarded energy shield from one of the fallen defenders. Holding it in front of him, he charged at the nearest attacker, knocking them aside with a combination of momentum and force. The alien soldiers blinked in surprise. That was clever," one muttered in their native language. Ryan had no time to respond. More enemies appeared, and he realized he had to protect Solara at all costs. He positioned himself in front of her, raising his shield just as a volley of arrows screamed through the air. Sparks flew as they collided with the shield, but Ryan held firm. Every fiber of his being strained under the impact, but he refused to back down. Solara's eyes were wide, and for the first time, Ryan saw a flicker of vulnerability in her. She had been trained to lead, to command, but this human, this stranger, was putting himself between her and death without hesitation. Something inside him stirred, a primal sense of duty, of courage, of human resilience. The attackers paused again, surprised by his determination. Ryan didn't waste the opportunity. He shouted at the queen, "Move! Follow me!" She nodded and ran behind him, her movements quick and graceful. Ryan led her through a series of narrow crystal corridors, weaving in and out of the attacker's path. Using his human ingenuity, he created small traps with broken energy conduits and jagged crystal edges. The attackers faltered, giving them precious seconds to escape. Finally, they reached a safe platform overlooking the city. Ryan collapsed to his knees, breathing heavily. Solara stood beside him, brushing a strand of glowing hair from her face. "You saved me," she said softly, almost in disbelief. "I had to," Ryan replied simply. "No one deserves to be killed while trying to protect their people." For a moment, silence settled between them. The sounds of battle still raged below, but this small platform felt like a sanctuary. Ryan could feel the queen's gaze on him, curious, cautious, but also respectful. "You are unlike any being I have ever met," Solara said finally. Her voice carried authority but also genuine wonder. "Humans are not known for their bravery in our legends." "You defy them," Ryan shrugged, wiping sweat from his brow. "I guess sometimes legends need updating." A faint smile touched Solara's lips, though the tension in her shoulders remained. She glanced down at the city below, her mind clearly racing. "We are outnumbered," she said. "Your actions have given us a chance, but this is only the beginning. The attackers will return." Ryan nodded, determination hardening his features. "Then we prepare. I'm not leaving until every arrow, every weapon, every threat is stopped, or until you're safe." Solara studied him for a long moment, then nodded. "Very well, human. You will remain with us. Learn our ways, our strategies. We have much to do, and your courage may yet save more lives than you realize." Ryan allowed himself a small grin. "Looks like I'm in for an adventure." As they watched the city below, Ryan realized that this mission had changed completely. He was no longer just an explorer. He had become a protector, a bridge between two worlds. And though the challenges ahead would be greater than anything he had faced, he felt a strange sense of purpose. Somewhere deep inside, he knew that saving Queen Solara was only the first step. What came next would test not just his skills but his humanity. And for the first time in his life, he felt truly ready. The violet sky shimmered above, and the distant sounds of the enemy's retreat echoed through the crystalline city. Ryan stood, brushing the dust from his armor. The battle had been won for now, but the war was far from over. Queen Solara looked at him with a mixture of awe and gratitude. "You have risked your life for me," she said softly. "I will not forget this, and I promise, your bravery will not go unrewarded." Ryan simply nodded, his eyes scanning the horizon. He didn't need a reward, not yet. For now, he had done what every human should do. He had acted with courage, with honor, and with heart. And in the shadow of the alien city, a human and a queen forged the beginning of an alliance that neither world would ever forget. The city of Zarathia had quieted for the moment, but the silence was fragile, like glass ready to shatter. Captain Ryan Hale and Queen Solara stood atop the crystalline platform, their eyes scanning the horizon. The human soldier's armor was scratched and scorched, his body aching from the earlier battle. Yet he refused to rest. The Queen's survival had become his mission, and he would not falter. "This was only a test," Solara said, her voice soft but firm. "The attackers will return in greater numbers." "They always do." Ryan wiped sweat from his brow and nodded. "Then we need a plan. We can't just wait for them to strike again. We need to turn this city into a trap." Solara studied him, her violet eyes narrowing thoughtfully. "Your courage is unmatched, human. You speak of strategy as if you have seen centuries of war." "I've seen my share," Ryan said, allowing a faint grin. "Sometimes experience is more important than technology." They moved quickly through the city, Solara pointing out key defensive points, energy barriers, and weak spots in the crystal walls. Ryan absorbed every detail. Humans might be physically weaker than these alien soldiers, but they excelled at thinking fast and adapting. He began devising a plan that combined both human ingenuity and alien technology. By mid-afternoon, the enemy returned, and this time they came with fury. Hundreds of figures descended from the sky, armed with sleek energy bows that shot arrows faster than any Ryan had ever seen. The first volley sliced through the air, sparking against the crystalline buildings, and Ryan realized that the queen and her court could not survive if they were caught exposed. He acted instinctively. Placing himself in front of Solara, he raised a shield of reinforced alien metal he had grabbed from a fallen defender. The arrows struck him with relentless force, jolting his body each time. He gritted his teeth, refusing to fall. One by one he blocked the deadly projectiles, his arms trembling but unyielding. Solara watched, horrified and amazed. No alien warrior had ever done this for her, and yet this human risked his life with no hesitation. Every arrow Ryan blocked was a testament to his courage, his strength, and his determination. "Ryan," Solara shouted, "move to cover! You cannot hold them forever." "I won't leave you," he yelled back, teeth gritted. "Just stay behind me." The human soldier's movements were precise, almost instinctual. He deflected arrows with the shield, rolled behind crystal pillars when necessary, and even used fallen enemies' weapons to counterattack. His presence became a beacon of hope for the alien defenders. Slowly they began to rally, inspired by Ryan's bravery. From above, Solara noticed something remarkable. The enemy's attacks, though deadly, followed a subtle rhythm. They relied on numbers, thinking that sheer volume would overwhelm anyone in their path. Ryan had identified this pattern and was using it to protect her and guide her guards. "You can't stay there forever," Solara said again, her voice tinged with worry. "I don't plan to," Ryan replied. "Just long enough for you to reach safety." With a signal from Ryan, Solara and her guards moved behind a series of crystal barricades. He blocked the next volley of arrows, each strike sending jolts through his arms and shoulders. But he refused to falter. The enemies were shocked. No one in their experience had endured such punishment while continuing to advance. The humans' bravery disrupted their formation, forcing them to hesitate, giving Solara's forces the advantage. Ryan ducked as an arrow struck the ground inches from his boots, sending sparks flying. He kicked a loose crystal toward an approaching soldier, who tripped and fell into a small fissure. Quick, precise human ingenuity was his weapon as much as the shield in his hands. The Queen's guards began to push back against the attackers, inspired by Ryan's actions. Even the civilians in the city who had been hiding started assisting, providing supplies and support. The attackers, who had expected an easy victory, were facing unexpected resistance. Solara felt a mixture of fear and admiration. "How can one human have such power?" she whispered to herself. "And yet he risks everything for me." Ryan glanced at her briefly, sweat dripping down his face. "It's not just for you," he shouted over the chaos. "It's for everyone here. If I fall, we all fall." Then came a particularly dangerous moment. A high-powered arrow, glowing with intense energy, streaked toward Solara. Ryan reacted without thinking. He threw his body in front of her, taking the full force of the strike. Pain shot through him and his knees buckled, but he held the Queen safe. Solara's eyes widened. She had never expected anyone to act with such selfless bravery. In that moment, she realized that Ryan was not just a soldier. He was something more, an example of humanity's courage, ingenuity, and heart. "Ryan," she cried, "you must retreat. You are hurt." "I'm fine," he gasped, ignoring the burning pain in his side. "Keep moving." Using the temporary confusion among the attackers, Ryan signaled the Queen and her guards to move to a hidden tunnel he had discovered earlier. The enemies, distracted by his fearless defense, failed to notice the group slipping away. Once they were safe, Ryan collapsed against a crystalline wall, breathing heavily. Solara knelt beside him, her hands glowing faintly as she applied alien healing techniques. Warm energy flowed from her palms, easing his pain and closing minor wounds. You are incredible," she said softly, still in awe. "No one has ever defended me like this." Ryan forced a small smile, though his body trembled. "I just did what had to be done. You're the Queen. If you fall, everything falls." Solara's gaze softened. "Your courage, it is unmatched. But your human body, it is fragile. You cannot continue like this for long." "I'll hold as long as I need to," Ryan said, determination shining in his eyes. "I've never left anyone behind, and I'm not about to start now." For the first time, Solara saw not just a soldier, but a symbol of hope. A being from another world, fearless and selfless, willing to risk everything to protect those who could not defend themselves. Her respect for him grew with every passing moment. The battle continued around them, but now Solara noticed a change. The alien defenders, once faltering under pressure, had regained their strength. Inspired by Ryan's bravery, they fought with renewed determination, pushing the enemy back. Even the civilians began to assist, their fear replaced by hope. As dusk fell, painting the sky in shades of deep purple and gold, the attackers finally retreated. Their numbers had been reduced and their morale shattered. The city was safe, for now. Solara stood beside Ryan, looking at the battlefield below. Sparks and debris lit the streets, but the city itself remained intact. "You have risked your life for me," she said quietly, her voice filled with gratitude. "I do not know how to repay such bravery." Ryan shrugged, exhausted but proud. "I don't need repayment. I did what was right. That's all that matters." For a moment, they simply stood together, two beings from different worlds united by courage and a shared sense of duty. The Queen, once confident in her power, now realized that true strength sometimes came from unexpected places. And Ryan, who had always thought of himself as just a soldier, understood that heroism was not about medals or titles. It was about heart. As night fell over Zarathia, the city glowed softly, safe for now. But Ryan knew the danger was far from over. More attacks would come, stronger and more relentless than before. And when they did, he would be ready. He would stand in front of the Queen again, as he had today, and he would not falter. Solara watched him, a sense of respect and admiration filling her heart. She had seen countless warriors, but none like him, none who would risk everything so willingly. And she realized something profound. This human was more than a protector. He was a bridge between their worlds, a symbol of what courage and humanity could achieve. Rang, exhausted and battered, looked at the Queen. "We survived today," he said softly. "Tomorrow we prepare. We make sure this city can never fall again." Solara nodded. "Together," she said, "we will face whatever comes next. And with you by my side, I believe we can overcome anything." In that moment, under the twin moons of Zarathia, a bond was formed. A bond not of blood or title, but of respect, courage, and shared purpose. Ryan had risked his life to protect the Queen, and in doing so, he had begun a story that would change both their worlds forever. The night was quiet now, but the memory of the battle would linger, a reminder that bravery and selflessness could shine even in the darkest of times. And Ryan, looking out over the glowing city, knew that whatever challenges awaited, he would meet them head-on, for the Queen, for the city, and for the human spirit that refused to back down. The first battle was over, but Zarathia was far from safe. The city still hummed with tension as repairs began on damaged buildings and energy shields were reinforced. Captain Ryan Hale had hardly rested. His body ached from the previous day's fight, but his mind was alert, already planning for what would come next. Queen Solara moved beside him, observing his methodical approach with a mix of curiosity and admiration. "You think like a human soldier," she said softly, watching him coordinate alien defenders and civilians alike. "Your strategies, they are clever and unexpected. I have never seen our forces act with such efficiency." Ryan nodded, brushing dust from his armor. "Experience. Humans have learned to adapt when outnumbered or outgunned. You taught me a lot in the last battle too, about your defenses and your people. Now we combine both." Solara smiled faintly, realizing that this human was not only brave but also smart. He respected her and her people, but he brought something new to their culture, a different perspective, a unique way to see threats and solutions. And she could see the difference it made. For hours, Ryan and Solara moved through the city, inspecting damaged areas and reinforcing weak points. He trained small groups of alien soldiers, showing them techniques from human combat that could counter the predictable patterns of their enemies. Solara watched closely, sometimes assisting, sometimes asking questions about his choices. It was unusual for a queen to study strategy from a human, but she trusted him. By mid-afternoon, a new sense of order had returned to the city. The streets were safer, civilians were organized into protective groups, and Ryan had established fallback positions in case the attackers returned. He finally allowed himself a moment to sit and breathe. "You've done more than protect me," Solara said, kneeling beside him. "You've strengthened our entire city. I never imagined that one human could make such a difference." Ryan shook his head. "I didn't do it for praise. I did it because it was the right thing to do. Anyone else in my place would have done the same." Solara's eyes softened, but there was a flicker of something more in her gaze, a mixture of gratitude and admiration that went beyond words. Perhaps, but you are not like others. Your courage, your quick thinking, it is extraordinary. You have changed my people's perception of humans in one day. Ryan felt a warmth in his chest at her words. Humans often felt small in the vast universe, but here on this distant planet he realized that courage and heart could bridge worlds. He looked at her and said simply, "I'm just doing my part. We all have our role." As evening approached, the Queen invited Ryan to her private chamber within the palace. The room glowed softly with luminescent crystals, casting gentle light over intricate alien designs etched into the walls. Solara motioned for him to sit. "You have risked your life for me," she began, "and for that I wish to show my gratitude. You will not simply be remembered as a soldier. I want you to have a place here among my people, where your courage and wisdom can help protect this city." Ryan blinked. "A place here? You mean stay?" "Yes," Solara said, her voice steady. "Humans are rare in our world. Rarely do we encounter one with such bravery and selflessness. You have earned the right to remain, to be trained further in our ways and to aid us in the future." Ryan thought for a moment. Staying on Zarathia meant leaving Earth and everything he knew behind. But the bond he had formed with the Queen, and the respect he had earned from her people made the decision simple. "I'll stay," he said finally. "If it helps protect your people, then yes, I'll stay." Solara's face softened, a rare smile touching her lips. "Then it is settled. You will train with us, learn our ways, and together we will prepare for what is coming." The following days were a mixture of intense training and careful planning. Ryan learned the alien combat techniques, adapting them to human logic, while also teaching aliens about human tactics. The combination was unusual, but it worked. Their forces became faster, smarter, and more coordinated. During this time, Ryan and Solara began to understand each other on a deeper level. He saw the Queen not just as a ruler, but as someone who carried the weight of her people's lives every day. She saw in him a human who could act selflessly, who understood responsibility and courage in ways her own warriors sometimes could not. One afternoon, as they walked along the upper terraces of the city, overlooking the shimmering rivers of energy below, Solara spoke. "I have never trusted a human so completely," she admitted. "You have shown me that strength is not only in power but in heart." Ryan glanced at her, noting the intensity in her gaze. "I've always believed that courage comes in many forms," he said. "Sometimes it's standing in front of a hail of arrows. Sometimes it's making a decision that others won't. It's about protecting people no matter what." Solara nodded slowly. "And you have done both without hesitation. I have seen our soldiers falter, but you never did." Ryan felt a subtle warmth at her words. There was respect, yes, but also something else. A bond that had formed from shared struggle and trust. He looked out over the city and said quietly, "We make a good team. Humans and your people. Together we're stronger than either of us alone." Solara's eyes met his and she gave a small approving nod. "Indeed, you have brought hope to this city in a way that none of my warriors ever could. You are not just a protector, Ryan Hale. You are a symbol." That evening, the Queen held a small council with her closest advisors. Ryan watched, listening to the discussions about future threats and defensive strategies. He contributed where he could, suggesting ways to combine human tactics with alien technology. His ideas were unconventional but effective. Slowly, the advisors began to see the value of the human perspective. As night fell over the city, Ryan and Solara stood together on a balcony overlooking the glowing streets. The battle had been won, but the memory of the arrows, the chaos, and the bravery still lingered in their minds. "You have given us more than defense," Solara said softly. "You have given us hope." "That is a rare gift." Ryan smiled faintly. "I didn't think about gifts. I just did what had to be done. That's what humans do. We protect, we adapt, we survive, and we fight for what is right." Solara studied him in silence for a moment, then spoke again. "You have taught me something important, Ryan. That courage is not measured by strength alone, but by willingness to act when others would hesitate. That lesson, I will carry it always." Ryan felt a surge of pride and humility at her words. He had never thought of himself as extraordinary, but here, on this alien world, he had become part of something larger than himself, a protector, a teacher, and a bridge between two civilizations. The bond between them grew stronger each day. Ryan respected Solara's wisdom and leadership, while she admired his courage and selflessness. Together they became not only a powerful team but also a symbol to both humans and aliens alike. That unity, respect and bravery could overcome even the greatest odds. Over the next few weeks, Ryan led training sessions for the alien soldiers, showing them how to anticipate enemy movements and act strategically under pressure. Solara worked alongside him, learning the nuances of human tactics and blending them with her own people's skills. Slowly, the city's defenses became nearly impregnable. One evening, after a long day of training, Solara and Ryan sat atop the highest terrace, watching the twin moons rise over the horizon. "You have given the city something no one else could," Solara said, her voice soft. "Not just protection, but confidence. Your presence reminds my people that even in darkness, courage can shine." Ryan leaned back, exhausted but satisfied. "I didn't do it for praise," he said. "I did it because it was right, and because I believe in people. Human, alien, it doesn't matter. We protect each other." Solara smiled, a rare, genuine smile that lit her features. "Then we are alike in ways I did not expect. We both fight for what is right without hesitation." In that moment, as the moons cast a gentle light over the crystalline city, Ryan understood that the reward for his courage was not just survival or recognition, it was trust, respect, and a bond that crossed the boundaries of worlds. He had risked his life for Queen Solara, and in doing so, he had earned more than he could have imagined: friendship, admiration, and a sense of purpose that went far beyond any battlefield. The night was calm, but the city remained vigilant. Ryan knew more challenges would come, stronger and deadlier than before. Yet he no longer felt alone. Solara trusted him, her people respected him, and together, they had formed a bond that no enemy could break. For the first time since arriving on Zarathia, Ryan felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He had risked everything for the Queen, and the reward, though not material, was worth every sacrifice. As they watched the city glow beneath the twin moons, Ryan realized that courage, selflessness, and humanity could change not only the fate of a city, but the course of history itself. And somewhere deep inside, he knew this was only the beginning. The calm of Zarathia's night was deceptive. Captain Ryan Hale had learned long ago that danger rarely waited for comfort. Though the city glowed softly beneath the twin moons, scouts reported that the enemy was regrouping for a final assault. Their numbers were greater than ever, their technology sharper, and their determination more ruthless. Ryan stood atop the highest terrace with Queen Solara beside him, reviewing maps of the city. Every building, every street, and every energy barrier had been marked with strategic points, fallback positions, and hidden ambush zones. The human soldier's mind worked quickly, connecting past battles with present threats. Solara watched him with admiration, aware that this final challenge would test not only their defenses, but the courage that had brought them this far. "They will strike at dawn," Ryan said, pointing to a narrow valley where scouts had detected enemy formations. "They know we are ready, so they will try to take what they cannot have. Their arrows will come faster, stronger, and more coordinated than before." Solara nodded, her violet eyes reflecting both worry and determination. "Then we must be faster, stronger, and smarter. Your strategies, they have changed our approach, Ryan. Together, we can face them." As the first light of dawn painted the sky in shades of gold and violet, the attackers descended like a dark storm. Hundreds of figures armed with deadly energy weapons charged toward the city. Ryan raised his shield and stood at the forefront, just as he had in the first battle, ready to protect the Queen at all costs. The initial volley of arrows screamed through the air. Ryan deflected them with his shield, feeling the impact jolt through his arms and shoulders. He had trained for this, anticipated it, but the force of so many projectiles was staggering. Still, he did not falter. Every arrow he blocked was a testament to his human resilience. Solara's guards, inspired by his courage, moved with precision. They used the traps and ambush points Ryan had set up, striking enemies from unexpected angles. Civilians, armed with improvised defenses, provided support, ensuring the attackers could not overwhelm them with sheer numbers. Ryan noticed that the enemy had adapted. They were using coordinated formations, flanking maneuvers, and rapid strikes. But he had anticipated these tactics. Using the narrow streets and crystal barricades, he funneled the attackers into kill zones where alien energy traps could be activated safely. Each movement was calculated, human ingenuity guiding alien technology. A sudden roar cut through the chaos. A massive enemy soldier, larger and more heavily armed than the rest, advanced directly toward Solara. Ryan reacted instantly. He positioned himself between the queen and the giant, his shield raised. The creature struck with an energy blade, sending sparks flying as metal clashed. Ryan gritted his teeth and held firm, blocking the blow with every ounce of strength he had. "You will not harm her," Ryan shouted, striking back with precise movements, using the enemy's weight and momentum against it. The queen watched, both fearful and in awe. No alien warrior could match Ryan's combination of courage, intelligence, and adaptability. His determination seemed unstoppable. Each time the enemy advanced, he countered with ingenuity and heart. As the battle raged, Ryan noticed smaller squads of attackers trying to sneak around the city's defenses. He leapt into action, blocking their path and forcing them into traps set earlier. His movements were swift and precise, human reflexes blending seamlessly with alien technology. Solara, seeing the human skill and bravery, gave orders to her soldiers. "Follow his lead," she commanded. "We fight together, as one force." Her words carried weight, and the alien defenders, now inspired and coordinated, pressed forward with renewed determination. The attackers were caught off guard. They had expected chaos, but instead they faced a united front that combined human unpredictability with alien strength. At one critical moment, a volley of high-powered arrows was aimed directly at Solara. Without hesitation, Ryan leapt in front of her, blocking the deadly strike with his shield once more. The impact sent him staggering, but he refused to fall. The queen's eyes widened in shock and admiration. "You are fearless," she whispered, almost to herself. Ryan's voice was steady, though his body trembled. "I promise to protect you, that's what I'm doing." The tide of the battle began to turn. Using human tactics, Ryan led small squads of defenders to flank the enemy, cutting off their reinforcements. Solara activated energy traps precisely where he had indicated, taking down groups of attackers in one strike. The combined efforts of humans and aliens created a synergy that the enemy could not anticipate. Hours passed, but the determination of the defenders never wavered. Ryan's endurance and leadership inspired everyone around him. The attackers, once confident, now faltered under the relentless pressure. Slowly, they began to retreat, their formation broken and morale shattered. Finally, the city was safe. The remaining attackers fled into the mountains, their plans thwarted. Solara's people cheered, their voices echoing across the crystalline city. Ryan, exhausted but triumphant, lowered his shield and sank to his knees. Solara approached him, her hands glowing with healing energy. She touched his shoulder gently, easing the aches and bruises from the prolonged battle. "You have done more than protect me," she said softly. "You have saved our city, our people, and perhaps even our way of life. I am in your debt." Ryan shook his head, a tired smile crossing his face. "I don't need thanks. I did what any human would do. I protect those who cannot protect themselves." Solara's eyes softened. "You are extraordinary, Ryan. More than any soldier, more than any warrior I have known. You have shown us the power of courage, selflessness, and humanity." The city's streets slowly returned to calm, the defenders patrolling and ensuring no further threats remained. Ryan stood beside Solara on the highest terrace, looking over the city. The twin moons reflected in her eyes, and he felt a sense of fulfillment he had never known. "You have risked everything for me," Solara said quietly. "And for that, I offer you a place not just in my city, but in my life. You will remain here, as my trusted protector and advisor. Your bravery has earned more than honor. It has earned trust and respect that spans worlds." Ryan looked at her, feeling the weight of her words. "I never expected a reward," he said. "I did it because it was right. But I will stay, if it means helping you and your people." Solara smiled, a rare, genuine smile that lit her features. Then it is settled. Together we will ensure Zarathia remains safe, and your name will be remembered by my people for generations. Over the next few weeks, Ryan continued to train the defenders, strengthening alliances and preparing for any future threats. The bond between him and Solara grew stronger. They shared strategies, insights, and even quiet moments of understanding. Ryan saw her not just as a queen, but as a leader burdened with responsibility, someone who valued courage and integrity above all. Solara, in turn, came to respect Ryan not only for his bravery, but for his humanity. His actions had changed her people's perception of humans. They had seen fearlessness, selflessness, and ingenuity in one individual, a combination that inspired hope for a lasting alliance between their worlds. One evening, standing together on the balcony overlooking the glowing city, Solara spoke softly. "You have given us more than protection, Ryan. You have given us hope, trust, and a bond that cannot be broken. Your courage has changed our future." Ryan looked out over the city, the glowing crystal streets reflecting the light of the twin moons. "I only did what I had to do, but knowing it helped, that is reward enough." Solara placed a hand on his shoulder. "No, the true reward is the trust, respect, and friendship we now share. You risked your life, and in doing so you have created a legacy. Your bravery will inspire not just my people, but future generations of humans and aliens alike." Ryan nodded, feeling a sense of pride and humility. He had come to Zarathia as a soldier, but he was leaving as something more, a symbol of courage, selflessness, and unity between worlds. The night was calm now, the city safe and peaceful. Ryan and Solara stood together knowing that challenges would come again, but confident that, together, they could face anything. The human soldier had risked everything for the alien queen, and in doing so, he had gained something far greater than he had ever imagined: trust, respect, and a place in a world he had once thought so distant. And as the twin moons shone brightly over Zarathia, Ryan realized that every sacrifice had been worth it. His courage, heart, and humanity had not only protected a queen and her city, but had also forged a bond that would last far beyond any battle, shaping the future of two civilizations forever.